To Go Boldly is brought to you by Succinct Accent, the language learning service for pedantic people. Learn to speak as well as do I. All right, theme song.
To Go Boldly is a podcast about Starspace, an animated comedy adventure set in space. Starring the janitorial engineers of the USS Mrs. Regina Jackson, a flagship vessel in Space Fleet, exploring new planets in an attempt to find new life and new civilizations and kill them before they can kill us. In this episode of the podcast, I'm going to tell you about the past, present, and future of the show. Next episode, we're going to talk about the characters in the show. After that, we'll talk about some of the tech that we're using to create the show. And then I'm hoping to do some interviews with cast and crew about their involvement in Starspace, some of their history, and give you a look into things and stuff. My name is Olaf. I'm one half of the creative team behind Starspace, and I guess I should tell you my bona fides. I come from the worlds of music production, film production, television production, and mostly waiting tables. I have written and produced 5 or so musical albums. I've produced and acted in and worked on dozens of comedy sketches, or dozen of comedy sketches anyway. I've produced 2 feature films, kind of, and and I have waited on Bill Gates. I'm clearly excellent at talking about myself. My partner, Dave Crossman, is a feature film writer, a screenwriter. He has written 50 to 100 comedy sketches. He has written 5 or 6 major motion picture scripts. But for today, we're just going to focus on the show itself. Starspace began as an idea between Dave and I about a year ago. And Dave is the one with the good memory. So, as I recall it, the idea began with one of those episodes of Star Trek where the captain has just gone through some massive battle and he screams to the guy at the console and he says, what's the situation? And the guy's like, damage on deck 6 through 9. And then the episode ends and everything's fine. But the show never addresses who actually has to deal with all that stuff. Starspace is a show about the adventures of some of those lesser lights aboard a starship. The people who make the food and keep the toilets clean and keep the place running. The people who have to deal with all of the messes made by the main crew. So about a year ago, Dave and I got together to work out the details about a show about the ordinary people on a starship. We created a cast of characters, wrote the script for a pilot episode, and began working on what further episodes, further adventures of the team would look like. At the same time, we began figuring out how to make a TV show for essentially no money. Working together on this one day, we had the idea for an animated show, but apparently I complained that doing faces is really hard. And so we had this idea to replace the faces on cartoon bodies with human faces. Do real video of actual actors and then attach that to an animated body. We did a little quick test of it right there. It kind of worked, and we were surprised. We were amazed. And this seemed like an interesting hook, a new production technique that hadn't really been done before. Once we knew the technique would work, we began writing a script that showcases some of the best of our characters and introduces you to this world. We began doing tests of green screen techniques, and over the course of months and months and numerous tests, we've developed a very simple, clean, and easy to set up green screen thing. We've begun the process of writing what's called a show Bible, and we have detailed out some of the further episodes. We'll talk about that in future episodes of this show. On the weekend of the 17th, we have scheduled a very busy couple of days of getting all of our actors in front of the green screen and recording their performances. Once we have those, we're going to begin the tedious and exciting process of animating the show, and we'll put together a pilot. That pilot will then shop around to Netflix, Amazon, television networks, Adult Swim, and NASA. So it's possible that in the last half an hour of recording, I've said enough interesting things to make a podcast out of, and we'll see after editing how long this actually is. But before we go, if you want to help our show, you can learn more about the show at togoboldly.com. That's where you can download this and future episodes of the podcast, as well as see whatever I have put on the website. We are looking for help in the production stages of this show. So people who like to draw, or people who want to animate, or just people who really like cartoons and want to work on one, get in touch. You can reach us at togoboldly.com or via email at starspace@togoboldly.com. My name has been Olaf. I have been Olaf. I am Olaf, and this has been To Go Boldly, the podcast with the name that's difficult to say over and over again. Bye.
To Go Boldly is brought to you in part by Succinct Accent, the language learning. To Go Boldly is brought to you in part by Succinct Accent, the language learning service for pedantic people. Learn to speak as well as do I. All right, let's start this theme. Theme song! Theme song!